Hello everyone! Welcome to my channel, Bachelor Nation News fans. Bachelor in Paradise Season 10 star Leslie Fhima revealed her relationship status with Gary Levingston after their shocking elimination from the show. When Gary arrived in Paradise, he asked Leslie to go on a date with him, and they had a wonderful time, dancing the night away. Although Gary had a connection with Natasha Hardy and he went on a fantastic date with Nancy Holkauer, he chose Leslie when it was his turn to give out a rose at the rose ceremony. Gary and Leslie seemed to be on their way to building their relationship, but then Gary made a big mistake. During one of the Bachelor in Paradise Season 10 compatibility challenges, Gary and Leslie were in the top 3, but Gary bet too many of his chips on his final question, and they ended up in the bottom 3 at the end of the game. Bailey Brown and Jeremy Simon had won the challenge, which allowed them to choose which couple would be eliminated. Since the women were giving out the roses that week, Bailey had the power to send home one of the bottom 3 couples, Gary and Leslie, Kim Buike and Faith Martin, or Brian Otts and Parisa Shifta. After much consideration, Bailey chose to eliminate Leslie and Gary, so their time in Costa Rica was through. On the Bachelor Happy Hour podcast, Leslie gave an update on her relationship with Gary. She shared that he's currently one of her best friends, and they talk all the time, but she isn't sure if they'll be more than that because they haven't seen each other. Leslie said, "We talk all the time. We talk. We were at the premiere together watching the show in LA. Gary is, I can honestly say right now, one of my best friends. I mean, he is. I'll call him if I have a problem. He kind of talks me off the ledge a little bit. We're always there for each other. We have each other's back." However, Leslie isn't certain about her romantic future with Gary. She explained, "I don't know, because we haven't spent time together. We live in 2 separate cities. I don't know what it could be. All I know is that for me, a big thing with any relationship, a romantic one for sure, is I want to be friends first, because I want to be with my best friend growing older." Leslie added that she and Gary care very much about each other, saying, "So that is a huge thing for me, and I don't know what it's going to be, but I know that we have special places in our hearts for each other, and that's all I can say right now." Although it's disappointing to hear that Leslie and Gary aren't dating after Bachelor in Paradise Season 10, it's beautiful to know that they've become best friends. They shared an instant connection, and it was obvious that there was something special between them. However, Leslie and Gary have encountered the same problem that other golden couples, including Jerry Turner and Teresa Nist, and Joan Vassos and Chalk Chappell have run into: how to make the logistics of their relationship work. It's very hard for the golden contestants because most of them are unwilling to leave their families and relocate. Although Joan and Chalk are happy in their long-distance relationship, this issue was part of the reason that Jerry and Teresa ended up announcing their divorce after just 3 months of marriage. Hopefully, Leslie and Gary will be able to figure out how to make their relationship work because they seem so right for each other. After having her heart broken as Jerry's runner-up during the Golden Bachelor, it's no wonder that Leslie is hesitant to continue dating Gary. She most likely wants to protect her heart if she's uncertain, which is completely understandable. However, Leslie's statement about how she wants to be friends with her partner first is a good sign for her relationship with Gary. They definitely have a strong friendship, which will hopefully continue to grow into something more. Both Leslie and Gary deserve to have the love that they've been searching for, and it would be beautiful to see them find it in each
under
other.
the Paradise sun. When Leslie Fhima first agreed to return to Bachelor in Paradise, she wasn't thinking about love. After her emotional and very public breakup with Jerry Turner on The Golden Bachelor, Leslie was ready to focus on healing, self-growth, and maybe sipping margaritas while soaking up the sun. Romance? That could wait. Meanwhile, Gary Levingston, a retired firefighter from Arizona, had never been on a Bachelor show before. At 64, he was new to the franchise and had only watched the Golden Bachelor finale after his daughter told him he might like someone like Leslie. He had no idea that he'd be cast on the same season of Paradise as the very woman he admired on screen. What neither of them expected was that Paradise had other plans. The moment that changed everything. It was the 3rd day of filming when Leslie saw Gary for the first time. She had just returned from a group yoga session on the beach, wearing her signature bold shades and a beach kimono that said, "Still got it." And she did. Gary was standing near the bar, laughing with Susan Knowles and Michael Allio. When their eyes met, something happened, a flicker of recognition, a flash of connection. Leslie's confident stride slowed, and Gary's smile froze halfway through a joke. "Gary Levingston, right?" she asked. "I was about to say the same. Leslie Fhima, in the flesh." They shook hands, held it just a second too long, and smiled. And just like that, the camera crews started hovering. From friendship to more? In the early days of Paradise, Leslie and Gary were cautious. They weren't paired immediately. Gary went on a date with Faith Martin, and Leslie briefly connected with Mark Brooks, a charming grandfather of 5 from Michigan. But it was clear that the strongest sparks weren't from those matches. Instead, it was the late-night conversations between Leslie and Gary that drew attention. Whether it was reminiscing about life before fame, sharing stories about their grandchildren, or giggling like high schoolers over silly jokes, something about their connection just clicked. "You have this way of making me feel young again," Leslie said one night. Gary looked at her, eyes soft. "Maybe it's because you remind me that love doesn't have an age limit." The producers noticed, fans noticed, social media noticed. Soon, #LesGary was trending. The confrontation. As the season progressed, things began heating up, literally and figuratively. Leslie and Gary shared their first kiss during a surprise fireworks show hosted by ABC for their Boomer Romance Night. The kiss was electric, full of emotion, vulnerability, and something deeper. But drama soon followed. Teresa Nist, who had her own history with Jerry Turner, entered the beach on week 4. She and Leslie hadn't spoken since the finale. Fans held their breath. "You think you know someone until you see them kissing your ex on national TV," Teresa quipped in her intro. Leslie rolled her eyes. She thinks everything's about her. Producers couldn't have written it better. Things came to a head during a group bonfire. Teresa accused Leslie of chasing another version of Jerry and not giving herself space to heal. Leslie shot back. "Maybe I'm finally getting what I deserved before, a man who doesn't second-guess me." Gary stayed quiet, but later took Leslie aside. "I'm not him," he said, "and I'm not running." The secret date. By week 5, Paradise gave Gary and Leslie a private overnight date card, a first for the senior cast members. They were taken to a private villa overlooking the water, with candles, music, and memories waiting to be made. It was there that Gary opened up about losing his wife in a house fire 15 years ago. "I thought I'd never love again. Then I saw you on that stage holding back tears, and I thought, maybe love doesn't die. Maybe it waits." Leslie, moved to tears, confessed something of her own. "I was afraid to come back here. I didn't want to be the woman who fell in love on TV again, but maybe I already am." That night, they danced to a live acoustic version of At Last, Under the Stars. No cameras were allowed inside the villa after midnight. The next morning, Leslie wore one of Gary's flannel shirts to breakfast. Paradise had officially found its power couple. Social media goes wild. Even before the finale aired, rumors about Leslie and Gary started swirling. Fan accounts posted blurred photos of the two holding hands at an airport in Cancun. Others claimed they were seen together at a Minnesota restaurant, but ABC was tight-lipped. Until the People magazine exclusive hit. Bachelor in Paradise seniors, Leslie Fhima and Gary Levingston, are still together and talking marriage. Leslie and Gary finally broke their silence on a joint Good Morning America interview. "It's real," Leslie said, beaming. "It's not a showmance. We're building a life." Gary nodded, and this time, nobody's walking away at the final rose. Adjusting to real life. After Paradise, Leslie returned to Minnesota while Gary went back to Arizona. Long distance wasn't easy, but every weekend they'd take turns flying to see each other. "It's like dating in your 20s with the bonus of knowing exactly what you want," Gary joked. Leslie's daughter adored Gary. Gary's son, initially hesitant, was surprised by how natural Leslie fit into their family dinners. The couple began making plans: joint travel, home renovations, maybe even starting a podcast on Love Over 60. Gary even joined TikTok, posting goofy dancing videos with Leslie. Fans couldn't get enough. Engagement rumors and a diamond ring. In July 2025, Leslie was spotted wearing a ring on that finger during a charity event in Nashville. Naturally, rumors exploded.
Leslie denied it at first. Just an accessory, she laughed. But a week later, Gary posted a photo captioned, "She said yes. Not on TV, not with roses, just with love." Bachelor Nation erupted. Their engagement was private, heartfelt, and completely off camera. A promise made in the living room of Leslie's house with wine, jazz, and a dog curled up at their feet. What makes this time different? Leslie had learned from the past. This time, she set boundaries with producers, controlled her own narrative, and focused on what she wanted. And Gary? He wasn't trying to be a bachelor heartthrob. He just wanted real love, real laughs, and a real partner. In an interview with Entertainment Tonight, Gary said, "We didn't need a fantasy suite to know we were right for each other. We just needed time. And this time, we're not letting it go." Their future plans. Leslie and Gary are planning a fall wedding in 2026. The location? A lakeside vineyard in Minnesota, intimate and rustic. Bachelor Nation alums will attend. Susan, Faith, Michael, even Jesse Palmer, who's promised to officiate if his schedule allows. But they aren't stopping there. Leslie is launching a wellness brand for women over 60, and Gary is writing a book titled After the Final Rose, Finding Love in Your Golden Years. They're also advocating for more senior representation on reality TV, hoping ABC continues the golden trend. As Leslie put it, love doesn't expire, it evolves. A postcard from paradise. 1 year later, Leslie and Gary are on their honeymoon in Greece. They sent out a video postcard to fans. "Thank you for believing in love after heartbreak," Leslie says, wearing sunglasses and holding Gary's hand. "And thank you for not giving up on us, even when we almost did," Gary adds. They raise their glasses to the camera, to paradise and beyond. Cue the waves, laughter, and a couple who didn't just find love on TV, they created a life off-screen.